Bye.
Alright, this is Chef Brent at the Bell House. Doing this video that I told you I would be doing. And I decided, instead of me running around like crazy, because I don't know if the camera can keep up with me, to go ahead and do my mise en place, meaning getting everything together beforehand. There'll be a few steps I gotta do, but mainly I'm going to show you what exactly the step process of making the Rosemary's lemon sauce. So, alright, so you can probably see all the stuff here. I already got the heavy cream out, flour, salt, sugar. I had to put them on both sides because that way I didn't get them confused. Lemon, butter. We're using apothecary white today. I suggest any of the cheaper wines when you're cooking. You don't need to go fancy. This is the cheapest that we carry here. You can go cheaper than this. And then good old chicken stock. See this stuff down in there? That means it's good stuff. Alright. So I'm going to start off by putting my gloves on. Alright, I'm going to try to give you measurements, but y'all ask me to do it like I do when I'm cooking, so I don't really measure much. I just kind of eyeball it. My eyes know better than measuring cups and things, but we're going to try to give you some measurements just so that you know exactly how to do it at home. Alright, so I got a stick of butter here. It's unsalted. Here's a big key. Don't use salted butter. You can't control how much salt is in it if you use salted butter. Yeah, I don't really need to keep that. We're going to use half of this stick, which is 2 ounces. I'm going to drop it in my pan. Oh, wrong pan. I'm going to drop it in that pan. We're going to make a roux. I do need to go get a whisk. You can. My pan's doing tricks on me over here. So we're going to melt the butter down. We got to make our roux first. While you're doing that, this other pan over here, we can go ahead and get started. I'm going to cut my lemon in half. Alright, now I'm going to squeeze my lemon juice in here. Obviously this catches all the seeds. There's all kinds of different tools. We have different tools here, but this is how I like to do it. Different kitchen members use different techniques. This is easy enough for me. Alright. So that was juice from 1 lemon. Remember, we got 2 ounces of butter over here. Now we're going to add our wine. Alright. Stuff on my hands or my gloves. Gonna get this pan to cooperate today. We'll just let it do its thing. Alright. Now, wine. Let's see. I'd say we're going to put about a cup of wine. A cup of wine. Alright. Here's our butter for our roux. Hopefully it's not a customer calling. Sorry, customer, whoever that is. I think there's somebody up front to answer it. Hope so. Alright. So when you make a traditional roux, you use the same amount of butter for flour. So technically you would use 2 ounces of flour for 2 ounces of butter. I tend to like use less flour, and then you can get a little more butter flavor in your roux. It won't thicken as fast, but it tastes, I think it makes it taste a little bit better. So we're gonna put probably about an ounce and a half. Alright, so you're going for is what they call a blonde roux, which is more for chicken stuff. Kind of in between a white and a blonde is what I normally do. So you don't want it too dark, and you don't want it too light, because I got the heavy cream that's going to make it lighter. Alright. So that roux is good. So mine's a lot looser than what you normally will see, because there's more butter than there is flour in it. And yes, it takes longer for it to reduce. We'll see how long it takes me to reduce it into the sauce today, but let's get this flame going over here. Alright, he's being hungry. There you go. A little fire for you. Alright, so now we're going to reduce down our wine with the lemon juice. That'll give it good flavor. Stay focused on that for a second. Alright, so here's what I had to go get. Again, I failed on my mise en place. I'm used to just running all over the kitchen doing like everything. So this is fresh rosemary. It's really good stuff. It's actually right out of my garden, in which I don't treat or anything. So there's no pesticides, nothing like that. So that's always good. So when you're doing rosemary, the trick when you go get this off the stem, hold it at the top, pull all the way down. There's all your rosemary. Now some of it will have some branches, and you'll have to get those off of there, but for the most part, that's most of the work for you right there. I somehow peeled some of the stem skin off with it. I don't know how I managed that one. That's just the skin from the stem. Don't know my own strength apparently. Alright, now there's some stem there. We're just going to get the leaves off. Alright, for how much we're making, that's probably plenty right there. Don't worry, the other won't go to waste. We make lots of stuff with rosemary. Grab me a knife over here. Alright, now this doesn't have to be, one here, so we got a pretty decent stem on it. This doesn't have to be like finely chopped. Really and truly, I feel like it adds presentation to your sauce, but you do want it chopped some so that it's not, when they're eating their sauce, and getting a big old branch of rosemary in their mouth. If I've ever served you that, I apologize. At least you know it's fresh. And this rosemary was washed. I washed it after I picked it, so don't worry. I think that's plenty chopped. Alright. So over here I got my wine. Reduce it down some. I'm going to take my chicken broth. Alright, I'm not using all the chicken broth. We'll say, so you got a cup of wine. We're going to go a cup of chicken broth in there as well. pretty much I just let it simmer there with the wine in it first to cook the alcohol off. That way I don't get y'all too drunk when you're eating this stuff. But look at that. My workers get yelled at later for having too open in there. But anyhow, I'm going to use this one up first because it has less in it. Alright, so we're going to do 2 cups of cream. This is what makes it delicious. So 2 cups of cream right there. Alright. This one? Trash. Alright. So now, I put my sugar over here, and I put my salt over there. Salt, we don't put in there until after we get pretty much everything else in there. That way you can taste it and see it where it needs to be. I am going to, and I wait on the rosemary too. And the reason why I wait on the rosemary is put it in there too soon, it can turn it brown. And so I like to put it in there towards the end. It'll keep its color longer. Alright. I've now done a video right here. I haven't talked this much before with this mask on, but I'm getting out of breath, so give me a second. Alright. 1 second, that's all I got. Alright, let's see here. Not quite. I don't know if y'all can see, on this side there's like a little bit of simmer. Get a little bit more simmer before you start adding the roux, because otherwise you'll feel like it's taking forever for the sauces to start getting thick. Now, the way we do our sauce here is after it's done, we put it on a steam well, so it's going to slowly get thicker. So we kind of make our sauce a little thinner, because over time it's going to get thicker as it's sitting. So when I get done, it may look a little thin. If you want to change your consistency, all you got to do is make a little bit more of this stuff, the roux, and add it to your sauce, and you can make it thicker. I'm adding the sauce now. I'll get every bit of this in here. Alright, I'm going to stir that. It's going to take some time. We're going to crank it up a little bit more. Sometimes I'm impatient. I don't want to make this video too long. I might fall asleep on me. Alright. I'm going to use this pan over here to hold my whisk for me. Now it's reducing. If you can see how it's like pulling towards the center, that's showing that it is doing its job, getting thicker, and it's reducing. So it's slowly getting thicker right now. By the way, he did warn me, these gloves, that new gloves I got, look at that, they started melting to my hand just from the heat. They said they were not very good for heat, but anyhow, they were cheaper. So you gotta do what you gotta do. Alright, see, it's already gotten a little thicker. We're gonna let that keep thickening up. I'm going to go ahead and add some sugar for this amount. Now obviously you're going to have to scale this down if you're going to make it home, unless you're making it for a big group. Obviously I got to make it to last for at least like 20 orders or so, because some nights y'all go crazy on the rosemary chicken. Nothing wrong with that. That's why we got to make that much room. Alright, so we're going to do sugar now. So why I put a little sugar in this is because the wine is so tart and the lemon juice can be so tart that it will not taste good. So the sugar just pulls back on the tartness of those two things, and then that's what makes the sauce have the little bit sweeter without being overpowering with the lemon juice or the. Whew, get out of breath again, guys. Pray for me, not this way, but. Alright, so that's getting a little out of hand there. We're going to turn them down. You don't want them to boil like that. At home, that probably ends up all over your stove. And you don't want to clean that mess up. Alright, so the sugar. Let me pour it and then I'll tell you about how much I poured. That's plenty. That's probably about, I'd say 3 teaspoons. So that's 3 teaspoons right there. And now, does that mean I'm done with the sugar? No. The key to good soups and good sauces is you're going to try it before you serve it. Because sometimes if the lemon's a little tartar or the wine's a little bit stronger than what you thought it was going to be, it'll come out to where it's just like blah. So you don't want blah. So we're going to hang on to the sugar for now. And we're going to go to our salt. Alright. So I would say you don't need a lot of salt in here because you got the chicken stock. So you got, let's say, I'd say probably 2 teaspoons, which sounds like a lot, but look how much sauce we're making. So for it to be tasted throughout, you have to have enough for it to bring out all the flavors. Alright. So mine's still a little thin, so we're going to let it reduce for a little bit longer. Like I said, mine, I tried to do a little thinner because as it sits in the hot well, it's going to keep getting thicker. Another aspect that I have to think about when I make stuff. Alright, I think it's time close enough for the rosemary. And notice that was one stem of rosemary and I had a little left. Obviously it depends on how much is on the stem. That looks like it's probably about 2 teaspoons of rosemary. So I hope you're writing this stuff down because this is all in my head and I'm just going with it. Without writing it down, I do not have a recipe for it. Alright. Still needs to reduce, but the trick here is you can still taste it while it's still reducing a little bit. Obviously the flavor's going to get a little richer as it reduces, but you should be able to tell if there's enough sugar or enough salt in it. Alright. Unfortunately, I got to run out of the kitchen to taste this to be COVID correct. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to run over here, take a taste, and I'll be right back. It's still a little bitter from the wine, so we're going to add a little bit more sugar. And then after I do that, I'm going to taste it again because I want to see if the flavor dies real quick, then it means you don't have enough salt in it. So remember that. Anytime you're cooking, if the flavor dies real quick, you don't have enough salt. Alright, so we're going to do, I'd say another teaspoon. We'll call that a tablespoon. It's close to a tablespoon. So I don't know what that's at. You're going to have to write this down as I'm talking. Because this is how I cook. And y'all voted for me to do it the way I do it. So this is what we're doing. Alright, so I already think it needs some more salt. Probably another teaspoon there. Now obviously your sugar and salt's going to be different every time you make it. It depends on the tartness of your lemon and how your wine is. So everything else you can probably follow to the T. Like I said, at home you probably want to do just a little bit more roux, but the wine, the cream, and the rosemary, you can just follow that to the T. We're going to crank it up and make it reduce faster. And you gotta be careful when you do that. You can scorch the bottom of it. So don't try this at home. No, I'm just playing. But let me go take a taste. Hope I don't pull it over as I walk away. Alright, that's right on the money right there. That's where we want it. I'm going to turn it off because I don't want mine. You could actually do it the way I just did it. Just keep reducing it. But this is where I want mine because it's going to sit on a hot well, which means it'll sit there and slowly reduce. All right. Make sure I didn't leave no ingredients out. Don't look like I did. Well, I hope y'all learned something. If you didn't, I apologize. But thank y'all. Don't forget we're going to challenge Ashton tonight, so try to come out and support her by ordering lots of desserts with it. That way we make her work harder tomorrow. She'll have to bake up desserts. If we run out of desserts, it means y'all did your job. You won the challenge. Thank you, and until next time. This is Chef Brent signing out at Bell House Restaurant.